Hello and welcome to the Jctr Corner. The Jctr Corner is a weekly program brought to you with the compliments of Jctr, the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection. This evening we have got a very interesting topic. We are looking at the financial inclusion vis-a-vis digital platforms for payments in Zambia. And on the program, we are featuring, as usual, our colleague from Jctr, Madam Siamachoka. Madam Siamachoka is Mchimba from Jctr. She's from the Social and Economic Development Program at the Jctr. And my name is Enoch Ngoma to present the show. Welcome to the program, Mchimba, and thanks for coming.
No, thank you so much. I'm glad to be back here again.
Yeah, so what's happening at Jctr?
What's
happening?
The year has just been gone on a good note. So we are still alert and monitoring all various issues as we normally do.
Okay. So to start the ball rolling, Mchimba, what is financial inclusion? Like I said earlier, our topic today is on financial inclusion vis-a-vis digital payment platforms. So what is financial inclusion?
Okay, so with financial inclusion, we're simply looking at having access to finance. I think we all know that money is a demand that we need for us to be able to demand goods and services, various goods and services. So with financial inclusion, we are looking at all sectors of society having a chance to access finance. This could be finance that enhances their day-to-day transactions, for instance, finance that helps them access funds for business, and just finance in that aspect.
Okay, so why the importance of digital payments and financial inclusion? Why is it important to the public, to Zambians, to the poor people out there? Why is it important?
So financial inclusion remains very important for a country like Zambia, especially one with such a small economy. I know, Mr. Ngoma, you'd agree with me, the face of technology has changed over time. You know, back in the day, you would need to read an entire book with you physically, but right now you can explore the world with just the touch of a button. So certainly the world is changing, and as a nation we have to change with it. So financial inclusion becomes very important because then we are looking at people accessing finance very easily. We have grandmothers in Petawoke that are able to receive, say, social cash transfer, which they need for their livelihood simply because technology has made it possible, and also because digital payment platforms have been on the rise in the country.
Okay, so you've mentioned of technological advancement. So do you think Zambia is ready for technological advancement? Are we on the right track in terms of technology?
Yes, we are. Certainly
especially
we are.
In view of financial inclusion.
Certainly we are. We are, and I say so because technology has enhanced a lot of things. If we look at the Zambian scenario, I could say 10 years ago, mobile money was not a common thing. But today, if we walked out of studio right now, you took a turn to the right, to the left, you have so many booths and you're able to send money, receive money, expand your business because you have that finance. So certainly being on the right track, we are. I know from Jctr, we have mobile subscribers have increased over time. So we have embraced it. Almost everyone, be it in the urban, in the rural areas, everybody has access to items such as a phone. So beyond that, we are ready for the change, and I think we have made enough positive strides over time.
Okay. So these are things like, when you say mobile money, you mean Airtel money, MTN money?
Yes, certainly, with financial platforms or financial services. So we are looking at mobile money. We have Airtel money in Zambia. We have MTN money. We also have other financial services. We have the banking sector. Of course, we know banks are very restricted with maybe being along the line of rail and operating in urban areas. But we know banks have diversified over time. I know, for instance, Zanaco has created various platforms such as Zanaco Express. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a bank physically present in the rural area, but there are various ways that innovation can allow us to ensure that our presence is felt.
So what is the status now of these digital platforms in Zambia? What is their status currently as we speak?
As we speak, the status of financial inclusion has evolved over time. I did mention earlier, we have mobile subscribers, for instance, in the country. That is with regards to the telecoms industry. We have about 13 million mobile subscribers. And for a country of a population of about 17 million, over 17 million, that is actually very good. And beyond that, we do have a number of national strategies as a country that look at promoting financial inclusion, because financial inclusion, if I did not mention earlier, is a tool that we can use to reduce poverty. And again, I'm saying so because we know through these financially viable methods, we're able to create employment. So it's quite dynamic in terms of what we can do with the financial aspect in the country. And just to go back to the status, it has evolved over time. For instance, with the mobile agents, we are looking at about 47,000 mobile agents having been created over the country. So with that 47,000, that is 47,000 people that have employment. And beyond that, we see it trickling down, because employment at family level, if one person is employed, they are able to enable or empower their family members.
Well, we are on Jctr Corner, and on the program tonight, we are discussing financial inclusion vis-a-vis digital platforms. Now, Muchimba, this question, I think I need to read it to you out clearly so that you get it clearly. What is the link between financial inclusion and what is the impact on reducing poverty and contributing to national development, particularly for the informal sector and the vulnerable people in our society?
Okay, so with financial inclusion, we are looking at more people entering the system. When more people are on the financial platforms, we know that less money is left outside. When an economy has money running within its operations, that money is used for investment. So certainly what we are saying is that with financial platforms, with digital payment platforms, we have money being invested into various sectors. And beyond that, as mentioned earlier, we have the poor that can access finance at a cheaper cost. We also have employment that has been created as a result of these various platforms. And just to speak a little bit more to employment, we are looking at employment both in the informal sector as well as the formal sector. With the formal sector, we have the banks that are actually employing a number of people in the country. And beyond that, as I did mention earlier, I know we may seem biased, but with digital payment platforms, mobile money is the easiest example that we can give for our country. So we have employment being created through those veins. And also beyond that, insurance is a package that comes along with financial inclusion. So certainly when we are insured, we know that our money is safeguarded. Even when risk is faced, we have means and ways to ensure that people still have finance. They still have money to demand for goods and services. It's one cycle that feeds into a variety of things. So just to highlight on that, there are very strong linkages that exist between financial inclusion and impacting a nation. This is towards national development as well as including issues to do with poverty reduction.
Okay. But in whatever we do in our day-to-day lives, nothing can be 100% foolproof. Nothing can be 100% perfect. I'm sure there should be challenges in all these things we are talking about: financial inclusion, about mobile money, about all these things. What challenges, what are threats, challenges that can come with all these things that we are talking about?
A number of challenges can be highlighted, and this is because of the gaps that we still have. We have embraced technology, but we are not 100% there yet. So if we look at Zambia, or coming to the context of Zambia, with regards to some of the threats, I could mention that there are very high transaction costs in terms of setting up some of these avenues. I don't think any layperson can easily get up and say, I want to open a bank today. And you will try. If you have no capital, you're not able to do so. Beyond that, we've also seen that there are a number of misconceptions, especially where you have money that you cannot see. Because with digital payment platforms, we are looking at virtual money. This is money in the bank, it could be money in e-wallet, all those forms. It's money that you can't see. Some societies of the country are still very skeptical. And this has been seen also with the rural people, with the farmers, you know. You want to have your hard money at hand to say, I want to buy goods and services. There's that trust misconception that exists. And beyond that, what we have seen is that we are still quite far behind where financial literacy is concerned. And because of that, we don't fully understand some of the products or some of the platforms that we can actually use to our own benefit. So we tend to shun them simply because of a number of issues. And also just another challenge or a threat is the issue to do with infrastructure. infrastructure with regards to technology as well as connectivity. Where urban areas still face, I mean, sometimes we face these connectivity challenges, be it on Airtel, be it on MTN.
Complain about network, always network problem.
Exactly. Those are some of the challenges that inhibit people from actually fully experiencing what financial inclusion, especially with regards to digital payment platforms. Those are some of the challenges. You know, it's meant to make life easy. From the comfort of your home, you should be able to say, I need to send money to Mr. Ngoma, or I need to invest in my business so easily. So those are some of the challenges that the country has faced and continues to face.
And those challenges sometimes could become very, very negative, effects on us. Because there are times you want to send money. There was a day there was no network the whole day on all networks, Airtel, MTN, money, whatever. There was no network the whole day. And people were trying to send monies, people were trying to transact on these issues. Nothing happened.
Certainly, that does become a challenge. Connectivity is one of the ways for the internet, for mobile platforms to actually thrive.
Yeah. All right, we are on Jctr Corner, and now we just go for a short break. We'll be right back in a moment.
To advertise on this program and enjoy amazing introductory rates, please call us on +260 211 290959 or +260 211 290912 or +260 953 538 000. Or send us an email at loyolazam@gmail.com.
Hello and welcome back to Jctr Corner. And this evening we're discussing financial inclusion. And on the program we have got Muchimba Siamachoka from Jctr. She's from the Social and Economic Development Program at Jctr. Before the break, Mchimba, you were explaining to us about the threats and the challenges of financial inclusion in Zambia. But going with that, there are also other threats, I think potential threats, which look at security and misconceptions. What can we do? First of all, what is misconceptions about financial inclusion? What is, and then what are the threats and challenges that we can help to solve the problem of poverty in Zambia?
Okay,
in terms of financial inclusion.
Okay. For the misconceptions, as earlier mentioned, we still have a group of people in society that do not trust technology. And because of that, they tend to shun away from some of the benefits that come with technology. And specifically to financial inclusion, we're looking at issues to do with access to finance that we all need to access various goods and services on a daily basis for our business transactions, or just for investments, or for insurance, which is a mitigation measure. So one way that we can deal with the conceptions that exist in society, for instance, have to do with civic awareness. People need to know what financial inclusion is and why they should jump on board. Why is it important? And this is not just the mandate of government on its own. I mean, I think we all have a part to play, especially as parents, as aunties and uncles to various people. We can inculcate those values, or just that education to say this is not bad, it's actually good for you. That's one way that we can deal with misconceptions in society. And beyond that, when we look at issues to do with security, and of course security again it ties into misconception. Some people are afraid because maybe the internet is not safe. So one way to deal with security is just to continue to enhance the capacities of these various regulatory bodies. For instance, we have the Bank of Zambia, we have Jctr, that are already doing enough in their own capacities, but more can be done to ensure that various people jump on board. And this is just looking at having strong consumer protection systems. I believe once you engage with these digital payment platforms, even when things go wrong, of course, and that happens, that is technology, it's man-made, so to say. So even when those challenges are faced, if they can be rectified quite quickly, if we can have grievance mechanisms that actually work, then we know we are dealing with these threats that can actually stand in between us being a financially inclusive society.
So you mean there's some people, maybe in the rural areas, who don't want to use this technology?
No, they don't.
They would rather walk to the post office to go and post something instead of using the phone. So what lessons can we learn from other countries? Are there other countries which are examples, good examples of financial inclusion where the people down there, the vulnerable, the poor, have managed to utilize these services and they've uplifted their living standards?
Yes, certainly there are a number of countries that we can learn from. For instance, on the African scenario, we can look at countries like Kenya that has actually got a very robust mobile system network. They have a mobile system facility known as M-Pesa, and this has been very successful because of the low transaction costs that the country has taken on board. And with low transaction costs, of course, if I have to trade off, I have money, and I have to choose either to do A or B. If doing A will cost me so much more, why should I even bother? So certainly lower transaction costs allow more people to jump on board. And even beyond that, we have countries like Malaysia that have continued to thrive where mobile money is concerned. And this is because they adopted long-term strategies that didn't look at the now. And that catered for various ways that a country can grow. And beyond that, they also embarked on a very robust financial literacy program where they're educating the people in society as to why these digital payment platforms become very useful, why they are good, why they work, and why we can make use of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, there is government on one hand, there is a private sector on the other hand. Now, if these two entities work together, how can they both help in ensuring that the poverty levels are uplifted through financial inclusion, that people's living standards are improved through financial inclusion? How can they collaborate, and why the need for them to collaborate?
And I do like how you've rightly put so that we do have two entities. And it's not the mandate of government only, it's not the mandate of the private sector only, but both parties can come together to collaborate to ensure that this world is actually moving at a certain pace. We are part of a global network. And realizing so, we need to know that we all have a part to play in ensuring that the vulnerable in society are lifted up. And with government on one hand, being a regulatory body, a governing entity, government sets the rules and laws. So if the rules and laws are very incentivizing, then we know the private sector can come on board. And with these government or public-private partnerships, it's not necessarily the hand of government to cough out the finances, but the private sector can come on board for as long as there are incentives that can actually allow them to operate. So we are looking at trying to align the roles that both have to play, and they become very vital because then we are giving a chance to the poor in society, to the vulnerable, to actually access finance. And for government, I would like to state that if we look at the 2020 national budget, we have a shift. In the budget itself, there's a mention of electronic fiscal devices. So government is trying to reduce that person-to-person, that human interface that we know with the human in play. That is where we've had issues to do with corruption. We've had misappropriation of funds. So we are looking at government taking a new approach, especially when they are giving these in cash kind payments. I did mention the social cash transfer. We had a problem with social cash transfer because the beneficiaries had to go and collect physical cash. And with that, it's very difficult to authenticate the users. So we have various things that government is doing right now. We have Smart Zambia, for instance, that is working well, that is able to tell, to say this person is not meant to receive this. And this is because of digital payment platforms, because of electronic fiscal devices. So certainly there are various things that government can do and that the private sector can do, and they can collaborate. And it becomes very useful because then it benefits us, the people.
Right, we are still on Jctr Corner, and on the program we are discussing financial inclusion. Financial inclusion which is supposed to assist the poor in our society to ensure that they are also playing a role, playing a part in financial inclusion and financial matters. On the program we've got Mchimba from Jctr. So Mchimba, going forward as Jctr, what recommendations would you give to ensure that all these things are in play, they move as swiftly as they can, and they are reaching the people down there in terms of assisting them to transact using mobile money, using also all other other activities that are meant to at least reduce their burden of traveling and increasing the cost of living and so on.
Okay, so certainly, firstly, what we would recommend is that we embark on a wide civic journey towards financial education. And in the long term, yes, we are looking at educating the masses. We are looking at financial literacy being part of school curriculum, even at primary level. The young people need to know what to do with finance. They need to know how they can be active or how they can engage with savings and all those issues that are meant to mitigate. But beyond that, we also have an adult society that is quite illiterate where financial matters are concerned. So certainly civic awareness becomes a good recommendation, because then we are trying to bring on board people that have stayed away from something that is beneficial. And beyond that, we are also saying there is need for government to continue to create an environment that is conducive, where businesses can thrive.
Okay, but just maybe one clarification. Do we have to trust these mobile facilities 100%? I know you mentioned something a bit earlier on, but money is money. Sometimes you find people are fraudulent. There are people who have been writing messages on phones that please send this amount of money to this number, and you don't know the number where it has come from. So how do we run away from such kind of issues?
I think there's need for even the viewers back home to take a stand. You have a right, it's your civic duty. If you feel something is threatening to your security, to your money, which you have worked for obviously, you have a right to get on board to report these matters. The goodness is that we do have various channels where we can actually report some of these fraudulent activities. And beyond that, we also know that the capacity of our regulatory bodies, Bank of Zambia, for instance, will normally come out in the open and let the people know to say this money-making venture is not trustworthy. So then we have a duty as citizens to say, I will not go for that because I have been told. So warnings are always there. Certainly where things are not working well, we can report. Those various channels are available. Where we feel the banks have not performed well, we have all these customer services, these grievance mechanisms that we can take up. I feel to some extent money at home, as I did mention earlier, is even at more risk than money that you are keeping in e-wallet. Because Mr. Ngoma, today if a fire came or if you were hijacked, it's not like you are insuring your money. That's a reality. We have not really fully embraced insurance. But money in the bank, if the bank loses your money, the bank is obligated to return the money back to you. So certainly where security concerns are available, we can use the various platforms to address them. But we are much safer by just embracing these digital payment platforms.
Thank you so much, Michimba, and I think we've come to the end of the program. This has been Jctr Corner, and we've been discussing the issue of financial inclusion meant to assist the poor in our societies. Michimba, thanks for coming to the program, and once again, I want to thank all the background staff. My name has been Enoch Ngoma. Until next time we meet again.